Welcome to Policy in Focus by me, Dawn Butler. And the subject this week is gambling, gambling, gambling. So here's the background. There are many communities across the UK who are blighted by gambling shops every time they step onto their high street. And we are losing so many important services. Even just, your local drop-in coffee shop is being replaced by a gambling establishment. So why is that? And why can't we stop it? Some people think it's because of the billionaires who own the industry. But actually, there's a bit of legislation that can change all of this. And that legislation is called Aim to Permit. So my gambling campaign takes various parts. But the part that I really want to accomplish is ending Aim to Permit. What is Aim to Permit? Aim to Permit is in the Gambling Act 2005. And what it does is it says to councils that if somebody wants to put up a gambling shop, then the council has to permit it. Now, by taking away this clause would mean that local people, local parliamentarians, local representatives will be able to have more of a say on what goes onto their high street. Now, the government has put in place something new called the Cumulative Impact Assessment, CIA. Now, that goes a little way to achieve what I want, but not enough. At the end of the day, let's just do what needs to be done and end Aim to Permit. And end it now. That's the campaign. So why am I so passionate about cleaning up our high streets and having nicer high streets? Well, the thing about gambling is it affects so many people, not just the person gambling themselves. It affects another 6 to 7 people in their immediate family and friends. And if we want to end violence against women and girls or halve violence against women and girls, we've got to tackle gambling. If we want to tackle the suicides in young men, we've got to tackle gambling. This week alone, I found out that if you're in the Army or the Navy or the RAF, you are 6 times more likely to be addicted to gambling. This is a crisis and it's a public health crisis, and this is why we have to tackle gambling. We have to end Aim to Permit, and we have to tackle the gambling industry that are preying on vulnerable people, especially young men. Gambling-related harms are not measured in a regular way, in a routine way, which it needs to be, which is something that we're pushing for, and we're getting there slowly. It is noted from the records that we know that there are 496 suicides per year through gambling-related harms. That's one person a day that sadly commits suicide because of gambling-related harms. Now, this is a public and a health emergency, and we all need to get on board on this because it affects so many people, but especially young men. And young white men are affected by this. So if we want to solve a lot of society ills, we gotta look at the industries that are harmful. And this is one of those industries. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we should ban gambling altogether, because some people can gamble responsibly like they can drink responsibly. But look what we've done in regards to smoking when we found out the harms that smoking causes. We've gone all out. We banned smoking to under 60. It's now got to be behind a screen. You've got to ask for your cigarette. We've put a lot of shame into it, fair enough. But ultimately, it's to help save people's lives. I mean, vaping is another issue that I'm not too keen about, but maybe I'll discuss that on another Substack. But ultimately, we need to end Aim to Permit. But let's talk about what we have done so far. So since the campaign has really gained some momentum, we have had some wins. So Gordon Brown was pivotal in increasing the gambling tax and using that money to lift children out of poverty. Now, the Chancellor did announce in the budget that the new duty for gambling will be 40%. That on the profits. So this isn't damaging the gambling industry itself, it's just on the profits. Fair enough, you got to pay a little bit of extra tax on the profits. We are talking billions here, so don't shed a tear for them. And the general betting duty, this new duty, will be at a rate of 25% for remote betting. And so again, that's on the profits. So I think this is fair. I think this is absolutely fair. And that money will go into helping people who are addicted to gambling. I think it's good. What do you think? Let me know. The bingo duty will be repealed with effect from the 1st of April 2026. And that's good for the bingo industry. So, you know, and the old school bingo, where you go in and you've got the cards and you know, those are places where people go and they have a good time. Very different to the loophole that we need to close, where people say they've got a bingo shop where it's just a little bit in the corner and the rest of it are gambling machines that make, incidentally, something like over £30,000 a year. One of those big machines, they're called FOTB machines, they make £30,000 a year. That's £30,000 coming out of the pockets from people who can least afford it. People in my constituency in Brent. That's like more than the minimum wage. That's more than a lot of people earn. So you can see why it's a problem. If you're only earning, you know, £28,000 a year, these machines can gobble up £30,000. You can see that there's a problem, right? What I did was I walked down all the high streets in Brent. Actually, I've walked down many high streets. There's some high streets, the more wealthier high streets, couldn't find a gambling shop on it. Interesting, right? That the gambling shops are clustered in areas of economic deprivation. Why do you think that is? You know, because they know the psychology of people who are just like, this one big bet will make me enough money where I can go buy Christmas presents for the kids. They know that psychology. I mean, the more you delve into this, the more you realize that you have to join this campaign. We have to do this together. We have to clean up our high streets. Let me know, what do you want to see on your high streets? What would you replace the gambling shops with? A coffee shop. I mean, the gambling industry has said it's the only place where men can go to sit and chat. That, I call BS on that. Because if you've ever been in one of those places, they don't encourage talking. They encourage pressing a button, and you know, you don't talk to anyone unless you lose, and then you're angry. And if you win, you don't really want anyone to know. So, I don't believe it. If you don't believe me, have a look at my videos and let me know what you think. Lastly, thank you to everyone who has joined me on Substack and on YouTube, where I get to kind of talk about what I'm passionate about and what I'm doing. There's so many things that we can do. There's so much changes that we need in society. And ultimately, my aim and the reason why I am a politician is just to make the world a better place. It might sound a bit cheesy, but that's literally what I'm here for. And, you know, help me do that. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what else you want me to fight on. I can't do everything, but I will do my best. And like, share and follow, because as we know, this is an attention economy. This is how we get people talking. This is how we get people connecting. So do please like, share and follow. And I will see you at the next Policy in Focus. Take care.